In northern Licking County, along State Route 13, 5 generations of the Walker family have lived on the Walker farm. Since 1949, when the farm was featured in the March of Times newsreel, Farming Pays Off, farming has undergone many changes. At the time of the filming, July of 1949, Don Walker was 14 years old. Today, he and his sons operate the farm, which his grandfather purchased in 1915. Unlike his father, Don Walker and other small farmers are under increasing pressure to compete with large-scale integrated farms. Whereas John Walker was a full-time farmer, Don now works off the farm. Of Don and Eula Walker's 3 children, only Doug is involved in the family farm on a regular basis. Like his parents, he and his family live on the farm. A second son, Brad, helps when needed but works and lives in Newark. Their sister Krista lives in California.
Grandfather bought the farm in 1915. He lived on Granville Street in Newark, and he and his family moved here in 1915. My father was here after that, and then this generation, and then we have a 4th generation with youngsters to be the 5th generation living on the farm. They picked the place because they wanted a family farm with 3 generations, and my brother had a young son, about 2 or 3 at that time, and he was the 3rd generation living on the farm and working at that time, so that's the reason they picked it as a farm, model family farm, I guess you would say.
In Licking County, Ohio, near Newark, is a diversified farm of 212 acres operated by a typical successful farmer. A dairy herd made up of 50 head of Jerseys provides John Walker's main income. He is proud of his Jersey bull, Buckeye Dreamer, which won 5th place at the Ohio State Fair last year. In prosperous times, such as farmers have enjoyed in recent years, the Walker farm grosses close to $18,000 and clears around half of that, about $9,000 a year. John Walker keeps his farm up to date. As his income rose, he put a good share of his profits into the latest farm equipment. In all, he has invested some $20,000. But not all of John's purchases went to make things easier for him. His wife, Frida, now has a modern, streamlined kitchen and one of the latest model food freezers, in which he can store 600 pounds of frozen meat and vegetables. There are 3 generations living on the Walker place. Leland, John's 2nd eldest boy, is 19. Everybody calls him Lee. John's youngest son is Don, who's 14. John Walker feels so proud of his boys that he has made them partners in the farm. They've got an eldest boy who lives in the old Walker house next door, Jack Walker, who is going on 22. Jack is the father of the 3rd generation of Walkers, little Gary, age 2½. Except for 550 bushels of wheat, which brought about $1,000, all crops on the Walker farm in 1949 were raised for feed for the dairy herd and the hogs and chickens. The Walkers have 14 acres in oats, which yielded 1,100 bushels. And their corn, like that of most other corn raisers throughout the rest of the country, was a bumper crop. By using such labor-saving devices as their new pickup hay baler, John and his sons can harvest and bale in one operation. Though the baler cost well over $1,400, they expect it to pay for itself in about 5 years, for it has helped the Walkers to get along without hiring extra hands. And today, with every process mechanized, the traditional horse has vanished completely from the Walkers' farm. The Walkers had always managed to handle their produce without a silo, but decided they needed one to store the big feed crops they raised in 1949. A modern, prefabricated cement structure, the silo is the last new equipment they expect to need for a long time. In the nearby town of Newark, John Walker is known as one of the prominent farmers in the county and is head of the Agricultural Committee of the Kiwanis Club. Don Walker is a leading member of the local branch of the 4-H Club. But today, despite the prosperous years they have just been through, the Walkers are not too sure of the future. For along with the rest of America's 27 million farmers, they note the beginning of a downtrend in agricultural income. But with whatever subsidies or price formulas the farmer must deal in the future, he can be sure of one outstanding fact, that not only has he reached a high degree of prosperity, but that the underlying pulse beat of U.S. agriculture is healthier than at any time in a generation. And today, the people of America know that the basic qualities, the faith and self-reliance, the courage and good sense, which enabled the U.S. farmer to achieve the agricultural miracles of the past decade, can still be relied upon in maintaining the nation's high standard of living in the years that lie ahead. Time marches on.
I've never moved away. Raised here, still here. I'm still here really with the help of my two sons. If it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't be here at that time. Oh, in 1949, as Brad said, it was a good-sized farm. Then we had probably 24, 25 milk cows, and maybe a few hogs, and it was great. A few chickens to have some eggs, and it was great. You lived, as a family, and made a living at it. And then as things became more mechanized and more technology developed, you had to get bigger, because you had to have more units with less income per unit, but you had to get more units to bring your income up. We got 30 plus cows now, plus young stuff, and Brad owns some cows and some beef calves, and Doug owns some cows, but that's the only way to keep going.
You have to have off-farm income, so you have both of us work off the farm, and in our, I guess in our spare time, it's an expensive hobby, if you want to call it a hobby, because you need the money off the farm to do what you can down here.
The dairy business is the only thing that looks good right now. Of course, farming is a boomerang. You're either up or you're down, and you're never in between. And you can't tell. Next year it could be the opposite way. The beef men might be the best thing, or the crops might be the best, and the dairy could be down. There's a lot of part-time farmers, and there's a few full-time farmers. It's something that's in your blood, and you go with it, and they have the old saying that you can take the boy away from the farm, but you can't take the farm away from the boy.